In a peaceful kingdom tucked between silver rivers and emerald hills lived a gentle girl named Cinderella, whose heart shone brighter than any star that ever dared to sparkle over the royal palace at night. And though her life was tangled in endless chores and harsh words from her stepmother Lady Primrose, and her two vain stepsisters Drusilla and Maribel, she carried kindness like magic in her breath, whispering hope even on the coldest mornings when the hearth refused to light and dust danced through the beams of pale sunlight. Cinderella believed that love, true, fearless love, was the greatest enchantment in all the world, and she kept this belief tucked close to her chest, especially during the evenings when she sat alone in the attic room, talking softly to her loyal animal friends, a chubby mouse named Pip, a curious bluebird called Leary, and a wise old cat named Marmot, who loved curling up on her lap as though he could shield her from every unkindness life dealt. And, though the days were long and her chores unending, the kingdom soon buzzed with thrilling news, for the king had announced a grand royal ball in honor of Prince Rowan's return. A celebration where every maiden in the land was invited in hopes that the prince might choose a bride, and Cinderella's heart fluttered like a lantern flame as she imagined just one night, just one, for herself where she could dance without fear, without orders, without insults, but the moment she expressed her dream to her stepmother, Lady Primrose's lips curved into a cold, cruel smile, and she declared Cinderella far too plain, too busy, too unworthy to attend such an event. Still, Cinderella's friends encouraged her to believe, and together they worked endlessly in the attic, stitching together a simple but elegant dress made from leftover ribbons, pearls found hidden in old boxes, and soft fabric she had stored for months, hoping for a moment like this. But when the night of the ball arrived and the stepsisters shrieked with excitement, Cinderella revealed her handmade gown with shy pride, only to have Drusilla rip the sash and Maribel tear the sleeves while Lady Primrose watched without blinking, claiming Cinderella had no right to dream above her station, leaving her heart shattered on the attic floor like delicate glass. Yet even in her despair, as tears fell like broken crystals, a warm golden glow filled the dusty room, stirring the air, until a shimmering figure appeared, a woman with silver hair, bright eyes, and wings like spun moonlight, who introduced herself as Eloria, Cinderella's fairy godmother, explaining gently that no dream was ever too small nor too impossible for a heart as kind as hers. With a flick of her star-tipped wand, the torn gown transformed into a breathtaking ball dress the color of sunrise blending into twilight, its skirt glowing with tiny enchanted sparkles and its bodice adorned with swirling patterns of stardust, and as Cinderella gasped softly, watching her reflection shimmer in the cracked attic mirror, the fairy godmother tapped her wand again, turning a pumpkin into a glittering golden carriage shaped like a blooming rose, for mice into magnificent white horses, the cat Marmot into a proud coachman, and the bluebird into a tiny silver-footed footman. Finally, with gentle care, she conjured dazzling slippers made entirely of crystal, cool and light with enchantment, so fragile, yet so powerful, that Cinderella felt for the first time as though magic truly believed in her. But the fairy godmother warned her that the spell would last only until the final stroke of midnight, and Cinderella promised she would return before the enchantment faded. Arriving at the palace, she stepped into a world carved from dreams, where chandeliers glittered like constellations and music swirled through the grand hall like a gentle breeze. And when Prince Rowan saw her descend the marble staircase, everything seemed to pause, the musicians, the nobles, even the candle flames, because Cinderella, glowing like a fallen star in her radiant gown, carried a warmth that pulled him toward her as though destiny itself had woven them together long before they met, and he asked her to dance, feeling an inexplicable certainty that she was the one person who saw the world with the same wonder he did. They danced through the night, twirling, under shimmering arches and past whispering fountains, laughing softly as though no one else existed. But as the bells began to toll midnight, Cinderella's heart clenched in alarm, for the magic was breaking and she could not let the prince see her fall back into the rags and sorrow she came from. So she fled, whispering a trembling goodbye as she raced down the palace steps, losing one crystal slipper along the way, which Prince Rowan found seconds later, holding it like a sacred promise, vowing to search the entire kingdom for the girl whose heart had echoed his so perfectly. The next morning, word spread that the prince was traveling house to house with the lost slipper, determined to find the mysterious maiden, and Lady Primrose, recognizing the slipper from the previous night's chaos, locked Cinderella in the attic to hide the truth, forcing Drysella and Maribel to try on the slipper as though deception would mold itself into destiny. But fate is never fooled, and the slipper refused to fit either of them no matter how much they pushed or twisted. Meanwhile, Cinderella, with help from Pip, Leary, and Marmot, who had returned to normal but felt more confident after being a coachman, escaped through the attic window, rushing down just as the prince prepared to leave, and though Lady Primrose attempted to block her path, Rowan recognized Cinderella by the way her eyes glowed with quiet courage. When she tried on the slipper, it fit perfectly, shining with a gentle hum of magic, and Cinderella softly revealed the other slipper she had kept safe. Realizing the truth, the prince invited her to the palace, promising her a life where her voice would matter, where her dreams would be nurtured, and where her heart would never again be dimmed by cruelty. Lady Primrose and her daughters watched in stunned silence as Cinderella stepped into the royal carriage. This time not as a dreamer relying on magic, but as a young woman embracing her worth, and at the palace, Cinderella and Prince Rowan were married beneath a sky woven with fireworks and starlight, celebrating not only love, but the enduring belief that kindness is the strongest magic of all. Cinderella used her newfound influence to ensure that every child in the kingdom, rich or poor, had the chance to dream and grow freely, and as the years passed, her story became a soft lullaby sung by mothers to their children, teaching them that no matter how dark the shadows grow, hope can always be rekindled by a brave heart. And every night, before resting beside her beloved Rowan, Cinderella placed her crystal slippers in a glass case near the window so they could catch the moonlight and remind her of the night her life transformed. Not because of magic alone, but because she finally realized she deserved to shine.